Hi, this is Angel Lori. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to discuss an experience I had back in 2016. I have my notes and I'm going to read you directly from my notes because it's been since 2016. We're now in 2023. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to have left out one iota of that experience. So I'm going to read it to you. But the synopsis is this, which should have been my awakening, but it was which wasn't. My awakening was 2020, but it should have been more life altering. I should have either went full tilt into fear or full tilt into denial. Like, this was no in between here, what happened to me. And it was so personal. I'm going to read you exactly what I had sent to a MUFON investigator, word for word. And as I'm looking back at it, reminding myself of what happened to me, I also had a weird dream that week, day. I'm gonna just read it so I don't miss anything. But it is my first experience and only experience where I basically was mutilated. I basically was mutilated. That's how I look at it. And then I'll explain to you what a couple of psychics said about it. But, this is the way I feel about it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read it to you so I don't miss anything. Okay. The investigator's name was John. I said, "Good morning, John. It's Lori. We communicated over a year ago regarding the craft sightings I had witnessed here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I also told you about how my mother was a lifelong abductee. Oh, just to let you know, I haven't gone into the craft that I saw and I commandeered yet. So that happened before this. So, like I told you, I don't do things linear. And I also told you about how my mother was a lifelong abductee. Well, something happened to me yesterday, 4/17/2016, that I cannot explain. I have scoop marks on my body that I cannot explain. One appeared on the top of my middle finger on my right hand a few days ago. But I figured I must have injured myself somehow and I didn't pay it any mind. Now, let me go into it. It was right here. It's no longer a scar there. It was right here. And it was just like a little stripe where my skin was not there. And, I do a lot of cooking. I do a lot of baking. So that on my fingers, because on occasion you cut your fingers when you're dicing and chopping. But the location of where that was just strange. And I never remembered ever cutting my finger there prior in slicing or dicing or chopping. So it was a little odd. That's why I put it in there. I didn't pay it any mind. Looking back, whatever fully happened to me on the 17th of April, and I said a few days ago, so that must have been 3 days, the 13th, the 14th, something else had happened to me that I have no memory of. And if whatever beings did this to me, once I tell you what they actually did to me, if they had healed it, I would have no memory of it. I would not know anything had happened to me, which lots of things could have happened to me in the past. And you don't remember anything. And if they don't leave evidence on your body, you're not gonna know. It's so fucking diabolical. Anyway, excuse my French. So yeah, that was on my hand, and it was like a scoop, like a stripe of skin, just not just skin, but the meat, like underneath it, out. So, I pushed that off to the back of my mind that I must have injured myself. So here we go. Okay. One appeared on the top of my middle finger on my right hand a few days ago, but I figured I must have injured myself somehow and did not pay it any more mind. But yesterday, something appeared on my body in a location that I could not have possibly done to myself by accident or design. And it was not on my body at 11 a.m. in the morning when I took my first shower of the day. Okay? I woke up at around 9 a.m. Okay, and this is April 17, 2016. I woke up at around 9 a.m. and I took my first shower around 11 a.m. My daughter and son-in-law had called because they wanted to come over to do a couple of loads of laundry. You know how that goes, parents. And binge watch a couple of TV shows at my house. So I said, okay. They said they would be here around 1 o'clock. Anybody who knows, excuse me, not to be racist, but anybody who knows black folk, no, they don't come nowhere on time. They do not show up on time. If they tell you 1 o'clock they're going to be here, usually they don't roll in until about 3 o'clock. Maybe even 5. I did a barbecue one time. A barbecue. Told everybody, come early, get here by about 3 o'clock. Like, that's... Come at 3 o'clock, so I have all the foods ready to go, the kebabs and the desserts, everything is ready. Everything is piping hot and fresh. So you get here 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, it's rocking. These so-and-sos didn't show up till like 6 o'clock. Food's getting cold. You can't keep things warm. I'm like, good. But anyway, I digress. So I said, they said they would be here around 1 o'clock, but I know my kids, and that it would be around 2 or 3 hours later than that, what they stated. So I was in my house by myself all night and most of the day yesterday. I don't remember any lost time other than perhaps falling into micro sleep on the couch a few times waiting for the kids to come. I was watching TV and posting on Facebook all alone, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary to me. My kids arrived around 2 p.m., put on a load of laundry, then they both went back out to run some errands and came back around 3 o'clock. So I was in the house by myself for about another hour after their first arrival. But I still don't remember anything being wrong. See, this is why I'm reading you, because all the details are here. I don't even remember all these details. Okay? So I was in the house by myself for about another hour after their first arrival, but still, I don't remember anything being wrong. I was watching Kung Fu movies on El Rey. Anybody know El Rey? I'm a Kung Fu girl. I love Kung Fu movies. So I was watching Kung Fu movies on the El Rey network, and communicating with my cousins on Facebook who also were watching the same movies. Now, my daughter and son-in-law left for the evening at around 9 p.m. And at 9 p.m., I watched another TV show. But after it was over at 10, I decided to take my final shower of the day to get ready for bed. As I was removing my clothing, I noticed something that completely shocked me. A very noticeably fresh healing scar about the size of the tip of my thumb. So about this big. That was carved out of my flesh on the left side of my breast. In a very sensitive area. That if I had injured myself at all, at any point during the day, would have caused me enormous pain and would have been bleeding all over the place. There is no way I injured myself, especially in that area of my body. How do you carve out a piece of your own breast? How do you accidentally carve out a piece of your own breast? And the edges were cauterized. And it was like down to the white meat. I just get so angry when I think about this. But anyway, okay. There's no way I injured myself, especially in that area of my body. I went to the mirror and really looked at this intrusion on my body and immediately became scared because I know I did not do that and I don't know how it got on my body. The scar looks like it has been healing for at least a day. But it only appeared on my body yesterday. There appears to be 2 deeper scoop marks within the tissue, and the right edge appears to have been seared because the skin there looks like it was burnt. But other than that, the area around the wound is smooth and untouched. The only other oddity that I noticed is a new mole that has appeared by the site that I have never seen before in my life on my body. And I'm thinking, is this an implant to be able to track me for future things like this? Last night, I had a dream. And it was about my childhood house in the Bronx. The same house where my mother told me about a major abduction. And I have discussed that with you guys before. Look back in the previous videos. That happened to her there, and that she was taken again against her will right up through the roof of our house and into the sky and onto a ship by the small grays and experimented on again and returned again in a matter of mere minutes of our time, but she said it seemed like forever. Okay, I had always wondered if something had happened to me and my baby sisters that night. I never remembered anything out of the ordinary, extraterrestrial wise. But there was a lot of spiritual energies in that house, benevolent on the main and upper floors of the house, and a truly malevolent energy in the finished basement section of the house. Well, last night I had a dream about that house. And that I was in the shower and I heard voices. And I was in my 20s, and I came out of the shower to find a tall, white male getting into my bed. And I screamed at him and immediately ran out the front door of my house to my immediate next door neighbor to get his father to get this man out of my house. He ran out of his house and into mine to catch the intruder and had called the police as well. But no one was ever found. But what was found in my dream was that there was a hidden passageway in the house. And it appeared the intruder had been there all along for years, unknown to me. I woke up from this dream wondering, is my subconscious trying to reveal to me that I too have been abducted as my mother was? My mother could not get pregnant. Well, we already went into that story before. I was just reiterating it to the MUFON investigator. Okay? Now that I have had a part of my body removed and left scarred, okay? The thing about it was that it was about the size of my thumb, and it had striations, like cut out of my flesh, like that. Like you peel an apple, you carve an apple, it's just striations of my inner meat of my breast. And the edge, to me, you'll see the pictures. I'm going to put please be warned, it could be graphic to some people. I'll put the pictures here so that you can see. To me, it looked like a shape of a turtle. About the size of my thumb and like a shape of like a turtle. And the striations of the carving of my meat, and then the outer rim edge of the scar was healing, was like cauterized. The intrusion never had any pain. There was no pain. There's no way on your breast you're going to have a chunk carved out and it's not going to hurt. If you get a titty punch, that shit hurts. You're going to carve me and it's not going to hurt. It did not hurt. It did not bleed. It did not seep. It healed in days. It was crazy. To just like have your reality ripped away that, no, bitch, you're not safe. You pray to God. You pray for your angels to keep you safe. And you do this and you're not safe. You're not safe. That's what that screamed to me. Lori, you're not safe. You're not protected. These guides, these angelics, these dragons, they allowed this to happen to you. This happened on their watch. Oh, I was incensed. I was angry. I was scared. I was disappointed in my guides. It was just so many emotions. And then to see this thing on my body. Now, when I took my showers, it didn't hurt. I put my bras on to go to work. It didn't hurt. But it was there. Just the fact that it was there. How in the fuck, did it get there from when I woke up at 9 o'clock in the morning, took my first shower by 11, messed around with my kids throughout the day. They leave by 9. I watch another show. I go upstairs by 11 to take my shower. And I got this. When did they have the time to remove me from my reality and take me somewhere? Or did they just like do whatever they did the surgery on me? Like right there on my couch. I mean, like I'm here watching Kung Fu movies and they're like, yo, get that bitch right now. We're going to carve her up. We're going to take this sample or we're going to dig whatever out of her, or maybe we're going to put something in her, whatever we're going to do. She can't stop us. We're going to do it. And it's just going to be done. She's going to like come back into this reality and see this thing. Yes, we know she's going to be pissed, but you know, we do what we do. Anybody who's had these intrusions knows my anger. You know my anger. You know the fear. You know just how pissed off about the whole shebang you are. Because I'm reading you my experience because I knew there was things that I wouldn't be able to remember on the spot doing this recording for you. But just rereading this pisses me even more. I mean, have you ever wanted to just take a ET or whoever these interdimensionals and just punch them in? I don't want to get my channel banned, but you know, I'm a warrior. But that intrusion, that infringement, it was too much. It was too much, especially knowing the things that my mother went through. And now here I am stuff is happening to me. I have no memory. I don't know who the hell did this. What the hell's going on? It was too much. Okay, but so I'm oh, and I also went into, I might as well let you know this now. I don't even have to make another episode. Let's just combine them. The intrusion on my body, the scar that they left behind. And I also talked about the fact of the Arcturians. The communication with that. Okay, it says, now that I have had a part of my body removed and left scarred, I need to know if I have been taken at any point in my life. Just this year alone, I have had contact from beings on a craft. So this too happened in 2016. And this happened before the scoop. Were they the ones that scooped me? Oh, I'll go into more of that. Let me just read. Okay. Just this year alone, I have had contact from beings on a craft that spoke to me in my mind, in English. Not in my voice, not my thought voice, but in their voice, in my mind, in English. And called themselves a name I had never heard before in my life. They called themselves Arcturian. Well, let me go into that with a little more detail. For this, we'll just call it meeting the Arcturian. This happened. This was before I had my car when I moved to North Carolina, because I'm a straight New Yorker. I didn't need to. I just rented cars on the weekend in New York. I didn't have to own anything. Plus, parking in New York is like bananas crazy. You get tickets up the yin yang just trying to park your car. But so I didn't have a car when I first moved down here to North Carolina, and I used to take the bus system because I'm a New Yorker. We take the bus, we walk. That's what we do. I quickly learned in the South, walking, what's that? Get in your car, even if you're just going down the block. So I didn't have a car at that time. So, I would take the bus to work. And it was probably around, I think I used to get on the bus like around 6:30, 6 o'clock. It's a long time ago. And I was at the bus stop. It's still dark outside. I think it was still cool. So it was like a cooler month. I don't think it was cold. I don't know. Unless I look back at my notes and know exactly when, I feel that it was any time from November to, say, February, because it's still cold enough outside that you can see your breath. I remember I saw my breath when you're standing at, waiting at the bus stop. And the sky was very clear. So, yeah, it was clear. It was cold enough to see your breath. So it had to be in between those months. I'm sure in my notes I have the exact month, probably even the exact day. But so I'm at the bus stop. There's two other people at the bus stop with me. There's a guy on smoking, and I'm allergic to cigarette smoke, so I was like standing a little bit away from them. And then there was another guy who had his headphones on, and they were kind of loud. I could hear his music. I was jamming with him. And I'm standing there, and I'm the type of person, I'm always looking up in the sky. I'm always watching the sky. So I know when I leave my house, I know if I'm on time, if there's a plane coming across the sky, I guess heading to land at the airport, because they're pretty much on time. So I know once I'm coming out my door, if I see that plane or hear that plane, I know I'm on time. I'm not late. I didn't miss the bus. So I heard the plane go over, and I'm at the bus stop, and I'm just looking around, looking in the sky, looking at the stars, because you can see the You can see the constellations and stuff at this time of the morning. And I look over the street directly in front of me, across the street. And it was probably like on the next block behind that, because the tree line, there was color. And I'm like, And I'm looking, and I'm like, is that a ship? I see color. And I'm thinking to myself, like, And I look at the other people next to me, and they're in their worlds. This one's smoking, talking on the phone. He was talking on the phone too, smoking and talking on the phone. The other one was in his music, just chilling. And I'm like, okay. And I'm looking, and now I'm trying to like look a little deeper. And it's like, this is the tree line, and then this is just above it, and there's colors going on. I see colors going on. I know in my notes I probably have the like of that original when it happened. Here is like a synopsis for him, but when it originally happened, I know I wrote down exactly what first color came and the second color. For purposes right now, using my memory, I think the first color I saw was a blue. It was in above the tree line, like in the, it was no clouds, so it was above the tree line, and I'm seeing rotations or pulsations of blue, and I'm like, the fuck? And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay. And then another color, say yellow pulsation circling around. And I'm like, okay, I think that's a ship. And, and I'm getting kind of, because this is before the intrusion on my body. So I'm like excited. I'm like, oh my God, I think that's a ship. I think that's a real legitimate fucking ship. And I'm like thinking towards it. I'm a person that's constantly in my head. I'm very cerebral. I'm always working out things in my head, assessing situations, judging people. It all happens inside the dome. And I'm like, it's constant conversations going on within myself. And I'm like, okay, if you really are a ship, I'm going to need you to flash my favorite color. And when I said that, it started circling, flashing pink. Pink is my favorite color. I didn't even say what my favorite color was, and it started pink. And then the next thing I heard in my head, I said to it, look at you, aren't you amazing? And I was like, I'm thinking this. I'm not saying this out loud. I'm like, I wonder who's in there. I was like, And when I thought, I guess to the ship, into the universe, I heard a voice. And I'm like, oh. I know I hear my voice. I hear my own thought voice in my head at times, when I'm thinking about things. But I heard another voice. It was not my voice. It sounded male, and it was not my voice, and it was in English. And I was like, are you really a ship? And I said, I wonder who's in that ship. I was like, I'm thinking, it must be the Nordics. Because at that time in my life, that's the only ETs I knew about, the Greys that vexed my mother her whole life, or the Nordics, the tall blonde people, the people that look like supermodels on their ships. I was like, are you Nordics? And then I heard, clear as day, crisp as day, as if I was talking to the people that was right next to me, no, we are Arcturian. I almost fell off. I almost fell right out there. I was like, Arcturian? I was like, I never even heard that name before. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, oh my God, my God. It must be the ones from Noah's Ark. That's how I thought. Arcturian, Ark. I didn't even know how to spell it. I was like, oh my God, when I get on the bus, I'm going to have to reach in my bag and get a pen and write down what I think this spells like. And then when I go to work, I'm going to Google the shit out of this and find out what the hell is an Arcturian. So I'm like, Arcturian. And I'm thinking, like, oh, this must be the beings that did Noah's Ark. They're Arcturians. And the bus was coming. I can see it coming up the road. I was like, oh, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, welcome to Earth. My name is Lori. Pleased to meet you, Arcturian. I was like, I have to go to work, so I have to get on this bus. But if you want to follow me on the bus to my job, that's fine. Knowing the shit that I know now, I should have never thought no shit like that, because that was given consent. There's good and bad in every race. How do I know those weren't a bunch of fucked up Arcturian evil bastard motherfuckers that came from me later on? This is the danger of the fascination with extraterrestrials or interdimensionals. This is the danger. We're so freaking fascinated, we don't know the rules. Okay? I've read regressions where beings have been on planets just minding their own business. Here comes a big old ship. They're fascinated with it, like I was fascinated with the Arcturian ship, if that were even Arcturian on there. Could have been humanity on there playing games like, tell you're Arcturian, you know? And in these regressions, these people simply were fascinated by the ship, and then you're watching the ship, and then they're capturing your freaking soul. They're capturing that being's consciousness. And the next thing you know, that being is waking up into slavery. Please be careful with all your CE5 in. You don't know what you're calling down. You don't know what you're calling in. You don't know what you're giving the coordinates to where you are. But anyway, so this was like a benevolent introduction. As far as I could tell, I was excited. I was excited to actually see a ship. And I'm telling you right now, it was not cloudy that day, but it was just above the tree line, a couple of blocks away, and I could see the colors. I fairly could make out a faint shape of a ship, and it kind of looked triangular. I can't tell you if it was the ship that I commandeered, but it kind of looked like a triangular craft, but I couldn't really judge dimension from where I was. It was just a fascinating, and then the colors. It was pulsing or rotating. It was colors. It was colors. It was beautiful, like rainbow. And then when it did the pink, I was like, what? You know, and then when I heard the word of the being speak to me, you know, I was like, are you Nordics? Are you Nordics? You know, little bit UFO professional. Are you Nordics? No. We are Arcturian. And it said, we are Arcturian. Not in plural. We are Arcturians. We are Arcturian. Implying one consciousness. Maybe many beings, but one consciousness. We are Arcturian. We are talking for our race to you. We are Arcturian. And that's exactly the cadence that it said it. Are you Nordics? No. We are Arcturian. Said it just like that. And I was over the freaking moon. I was basically jumping over that ship, over the moon, excited. I'm like, I'm on the bus. When I get on the bus, I'm noticing other two people was with me. It was like we was in a different reality. Different. That's what I'm telling you. When you see ships, you're either on the frequency to see them or they want you to see them, because two people standing right next to me at the bus stop for the same amount of time. And all this happened within the span of maybe 5 minutes. They didn't notice anything. They didn't get any mental telepathic contact with anybody. The Arcturian didn't say, hey, yo, everybody at the bus stop, we're Arcturian. No, it was a communication directly to me. So later on, when I'm thinking about this encounter, I'm like, were they stalking me? Because they obviously was there prior to me coming out my door. Now, my apartment door, I could see the bus stop from my apartment door. So they obviously already knew who I was. They obviously already did some reconnaissance. They obviously was waiting on me. And it was just that day, for that time in this space, that they decided to make themselves known, because they didn't have to talk to me. I was just noticing the colors, and I was like, I think that's a ship. That's a ship. Holy fuck, I'm looking at a ship. They didn't have to say a word to me. When I said, are you Nordics? Who's in that ship? Are you Nordics? They didn't have to say anything, but they did. So they made themselves known. So they wanted me to know who, or to at least know the name Arcturian. Because when I got on the bus, and, I'm like digging in my purse like a nerd, and I'm getting a piece of paper, and I'm writing it. I didn't even use my phone to like type anything in or have the conscious of mind to take my phone and try to videotape something. It's just like, when you're in these situations, it's like you're just so shocked. It's like, if you've never dealt with it before, you don't have the forethought to be like, oh my God, let me pull my phone. It's crazy. It's crazy. I got on the bus, I grabbed my pen, I wrote the word Arcturian, and I spelled it Arkturian. Arcturian. I wrote it phonetically. And then when I got to work, I'm supposed to be working. Since I sat down at my computer, I was like, girl, oh my God, I saw a shift this morning coming in. Holy fuck. They said their names was Arcturian. I think I told my friend Shell at the time. And another girl that worked with us, but she doesn't work with us anymore. I think I told her. And I was like, I saw a ship. They talked to me. And it was like, okay, Lori. All right. I'm like, dudes, it happened. It totally happened. They said their name is Arcturian. Noah's Ark. I talked to Noah's Ark people. And it was like, holy fuck. She's finally lost it. She's finally gone. And I started, like, I'm supposed to be working, but I'm using a computer, and I'm looking it up, and I'm Arcturian, and I'm looking at stuff. Then I was like, race of beings that people have seen, and blah, blah, blah. And then, boom. Arcturian. Boom. It exists. It's a real word. I just spelt it wrong. Maybe they didn't help Noah on his ark. And I'm looking, then I start trying to research, and I'm doing stuff. I'm supposed to be working, but I'm working for me at this point. And I find out, they could be tall, they could be short, they could be blue, they could have big heads, they could have big eyes. It was just so much information flooding me about what an Arcturian could be. And I'm like, something from somewhere else talked to me today, in my head, in its voice, in its cadence, made itself known to me. I was like, who the fuck am I that something from somewhere else would even care to talk to me? I was like, why would they talk to me? Why would they answer my question when I said, are you Nordics? I'm like, and it just sent me down like an existential rabbit hole. I just went straight down the rabbit hole from there. Okay. So that's what happened in these notes. I'll read you what it says, even though I just basically told you the story. It says, now that I have had a part of my body removed and left scarred, I need to know if I have been taken at any point in my life. Just this year alone, I had a contact from beings on a craft that spoke to me in my mind and called themselves a name I had never heard before in my life. They called themselves Arcturian, but I had spelled it Arkturian. And the early morning that I had saw the craft when I was waiting at the bus stop in front of my apartment complex. I was not frightened when I saw their ship in the dark early morning sky. And after reading what I had written about the experience on the bus ride to work, I found that I had mentally said to the ship, hello, who are you? Are you Nordics? The only name I ever knew of extraterrestrial beings that were like us. I love you. Oh, God. I didn't even know I said this. That's why it's good to write down when these things happen to you. I said, I love you. Welcome to my world. And that is when I heard the reply in my mind of their name. I looked it up on, I said, I love you. To some ship in the sky that I saw that I never had. I said, I love you. I love you. Welcome to my world. I'm a different kind of person. I'm a different kind of being. I shocked myself. If I can read that right here, I didn't even remember any of that. That I said, I love you. Welcome to my world. I remember I said, hello, my name is Lori. Welcome to Earth. I had no remembrance of, I love you. Welcome to my world. And that is when I heard the reply in my mind of their name. I looked it up online as soon as I got to work and found the proper spelling of their name and pictures on what people say they look like. Now, with all this contact, I am unsure what beings are doing this to me, and my mind falls back to the vexers of my mother, the small grays. I wanted to know if you had any recommendations for a hypnotherapist that specializes in this type of regression to see if I am a victim of actual abductions and if this happened to me in my childhood or yesterday or both. I took pictures of the scoop marks on my breast and the finger just of the wounds in case you want to see them. Like, I want to take my whole and show it to the world. Just the scar. I put peroxide on the one on my breast last night and on the one on my finger. I have an extremely fast healing factor, and part of who I am from them is I never get sick. I don't. Never caught the common cold, never caught the flu. I'm impervious to them. Oh, at the time I said I am 47 going on 48 this year. I have broken bones, but they heal in 8 weeks or less, no matter how severe the break is. I don't get sick. I guess when I did my contract for Earth, it said, we will not be having any of those nasty human cooties. No colds, no flus, no fevers, none of that. That's my voicemail. It's Terminator. Sorry about that. Anytime you're recording, somebody's always going to call you. I don't get sick, you know. I'm at work. People are like dropping like flies with the flu. And this is before the C word. People was dropping like flies from the flu. They had to like bring in a company on the weekend to like sanitize our office because so many people were getting sick people at their desks, everybody's coughing, hemming, hawking, and tissue boxes and nasal sprays and pills and everything. And Lori's just like chilling like a mofo. I'm chilling like a mofo. You okay? You need me to get you some juice? I don't get sick. They're all sick. They're falling like flies. Even with the C. Everybody's getting sick. Everybody's falling like flies. I'm just doing my thing on this planet. I didn't sign up for none of that. So, that's just how it is. But anyway, it says, I'm looking for answers here, especially having a piece of my body taken, scooped out with only a scar left to frighten me and also anger me. If you can point me in the direction of anyone who can help me, it would be greatly appreciated. The wounds on my finger and my breast do not hurt whatsoever, and the severity of the breast scar should hurt like, excuse my French, but hell, and it doesn't. I am truly frightened about all of this. Then I gave him my phone number. I said, John, I am so frightened. I don't want to endure the life that my mother did with abductions and fear. I know you know this feeling, and I'm frightened that if they have started on me, that my daughter might be next. And I just couldn't bear for her to be hurt like this. Thank you for any assistance you can offer. Sincerely. So, I'll show you the pictures of the finger and of the breast scooping. Now, here we are, say 2022. I had my first regression. I didn't really get much information from that regression, but I did an interview with the psychic, a celebrity status psychic, and he told me what he saw regarding that day, which later on was corroborated by another psychic. He said, it happened quickly because this is what they do. He said he saw a small gray with a tall man. He said man. He saw a small gray with a tall man. I wish I had that. I wish I had taken a recording. I'm like so new to all this. He said it was a small gray. He said they were on a ship. It was a small gray and a tall man. And he said, Lori, is your father white? And I said, not that I know of. I have my biological father, who's a black man, and my stepfather, who's a black man. As far as I know, my father isn't a tall white man. But he was like, Lori, I feel this is your father. This is your father. And I'm like, okay, so this is your father. And they had to do a removal. They had to get something out of you quickly because it was a danger to me. He said it was a danger to me. They had to get something out of me quickly, and this is what they do. I don't know if this is what they do for their wards, offspring, or if this is what they do as a species, as a being, as a job. I don't know, but that's what he said. They had to act quickly because something was put into me, was going to overtake me or something, and they had to remove it. So it was a quick decision, a quick operation, a quickness. So when he said that, and I was like, so the being that you feel feels like my father? didn't make any sense to me. My father and a gray? I was like, so I had contact with the gray. There was a gray, but he said it was a small gray. And I guess the tall being was the boss, for lesser word, of the gray. So these beings did this surgery on me quickly on my breast. And I guess they must have did the scoop on my finger too. I don't know. And I really do need to do another regression and really get my subconscious to release that information about that, that and more. But that's what he said. He said it was a being, a tall white being that felt like my father with a small gray on a ship that did this, I guess it was an emergency surgery on me. He also had saw my dragons, and he was like, because, he wasn't a psychic that was used to seeing extraterrestrial or interdimensional. He's a psychic medium that is used to, helping people whose family members have crossed the other side, the spirit realm, not the ET realm. And, here comes the ET girl. And he was like, Lori, I don't want to frighten you, but you have 2 large dragons sitting on either side of you right now. I'm like, okay. He's like, you're not afraid? I was like, no, I love dragons. I was like, I've always loved dragons. Dragons, I love them. And he's like, okay. He's like, Lori, he's like, they are huge. They're not like Game of Thrones dragons. He's like, they're bigger than that. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like looking around like I can't see them, but all right. Yes. Dragons, I'm totally comfortable with. Yeah, I told you, I'm a different kind of girl. And he was like, okay, I just wanted to let you know because this is fascinating. I'm like, so he had explained to me about the emergency surgery and my dragons. And then later on, I had told what happened to me to a friend who's also psychic, and another friend. And independently, I had told them, and independently, they saw the same thing. They was like, Lori, it was something that had to happen so fast. You had come into contact with something that was invading you, and they had to get it out fast. So it was an emergency decision. They had to get in and get it out fast. And I'm like, okay, I can understand all that. And once again, they saw a tall white, a male, in the gray. And I'm like, but why did they have to leave me scarred? With all this high technology that they can take us and take eggs and all this stuff, and you come back, why did I have to be scarred? Why was the surgery have to be that fast that you couldn't, work your magic and heal my skin so that I wouldn't even know, or just leave a small mark there? I mean, I've had beings leave their fucking face on my body, but you had to leave me with a gaping hole in my breast. At that point in time, I'm like, I was thinking, is this thing going to heal? Am I going to have a scar? It was just very traumatic. It was very traumatic. So when they told me, no, it was so much love happening there, Lori. It was so much love. The other psychic didn't say anything about love. He just said, I feel this is your father. So maybe by saying, I feel this is your father, that was his expression of, I feel that there was love for you from this being that this was doing this to you. There was love. He said, it's your father. So they was like, no, the beings had so much love for you. They was like, the 2 independent psychics telling him at independent times, like, no, it was so much love for you. There was so much love for you. There was so much concern for you. They had to just do this surgery. They had to get it out and they had to move on. They had to get it out and they had to go. So I was like, all right, I'm still salty. I'm still salty about having a gaping hole in my breast. Even though it didn't hurt. It never bled. It never seeped. It just healed. And when it finally healed, it was about a week. Perfectly healed. My skin was perfectly intact. Smooth. Same skin tone. You couldn't tell anything had happened to me. Now, I wish that would have happened immediately with their surgery. But then again, I wouldn't know that something had happened to me. So it seems like they want me to know these things. I guess maybe they was trying to wake me up, and emergency surgery wasn't enough to wake me up fully. Seeing Kraft in the sky and having Arcturian talk to me wasn't enough to wake me up. I'm just, happy in my humanity, and, knowing that my mom was a lifelong abductee, that wasn't enough to wake me up. I don't know what is, but that intrusion. And even though everyone is telling me it was done with benevolence, it was done with love, it was done by my father, this, that, and the other, it still just doesn't sit right with me that they left me with this gaping hole in my breast. The scoop on my finger, that was nothing, but a gaping hole in my breast, that made me feel unsafe. That made me feel, I had fear. I tried not to deal with fear. Fear is not even like, I eat fear for breakfast. But then, no. That was a whole other ballgame. This has been a very long segment, but I just need to get all that out. And like I say, I'm not linear. Things flow. I just flow. And I'm glad that I throughout the course of my life, when these things happen, I'm glad I write it down, because I would not retain all of the little bits of detail. Now, if you've had an experience like that, let me know. Had an experience of like a quick surgery done on you and you've got a scar and it's there and it's like staring you in your face in reality. I mean, it's on your breast. It's on my breast. I can't miss that. It wasn't on my back where I couldn't see it, or on my leg or something. It was on my titty. I mean, just even thinking of beings manhandling my woman junk, copping free feels to take stuff out of me. And it was my father? Now, later on, another one of my friends who's a psychic, intuitive, my spiritual teacher, so she told me when she did my star seed chart that I am a hybrid. I am Palladian angelic. So my father's an angelic and my mom's Pleiadian. So was the being on the ship that did the emergency surgery to me, that one psychic said felt like my father. Lori, is your father white? And then another psychic telling me that my father is angelic and my mother's Palladian and I'm a unique being. Was that being on that ship an angelic? And was it truly my father who did that surgery on me? I don't know. This is what regression is for. And when I do my regression, then I'll make another recording and let you guys know. I have to piece these puzzles together. This is all crazy. It's all convoluted. But I'm going to get to my answers. And that's why I have this show, so I can get to my answers, you can get to your answers, and we can get to some understandings together. Thank you for watching this episode. I know it was long. Please don't be grossed out by the pictures. If you got a weak stomach, don't even. Thank you for watching. Blessings to everyone.